Merry Christmas to all, as it's another holiday and we're here talking Bitcoin. I didn't think I was going to do this today, guys, but I'm here. I will tell you though, I am not Santa, nor am I a Grinch, but I do have some bad news for you. Bitcoin has been slumping since we last talked. I know that's not the type of news you want to hear, but it's reality. And on this broadcast, we talk about realness and we got to get to it. What's up, everyone? Like I said, it's the holidays if you celebrate Christmas, or if you don't, maybe you celebrate Kwanzaa. Happy holidays. And this is Steph Saucy Talk with your guy, Steph Saucy. Some call me Steph, some call me Saucy. But I had to do something today. I wanted to do something different on this holiday. Usually I'm spending time with family. I'm watching the games. NFL's going on. 3 games that's been playing. And also in the NBA, there's about 5 games going on today too. Shout out to the Knicks. They got the W today. Yeah, you know how we do. Making those Cavs look silly, thinking they can come back on us. But look, man, we got to talk money. We got to talk currency. And as far as I'm concerned, Bitcoin has been getting a lot of headlines. Not for good reasons, but that's okay. Because history repeats itself. This happened in 2018, I believe, and in 2021. 30% down from the all-time high. And guess what happened then? It rallied from there on out. So I'm not saying that it's a guarantee, guys, but we just have to just bear with Bitcoin. Let it go through the rest of this year, and let's see what 2026 has in store for us. We did the halving. Remember the halving? Now I told you that's very important. That happened, and the next one will be in 2028. So we are here today to talk about Bitcoin, and not only that, we're here to talk about some companies that obviously are backing it, and a new company that debuted. We'll get to that as well. And I think I might be doing a overall Bitcoin review for the end of 2025. Not today, but eventually I will get to that. So I ask you this question. I usually like to ask questions, but I ask you one question. Do you feel that Bitcoin is all hype, or is it the real deal? I know my answer. You want to know? Well, we're going to talk about that towards the end. So there's a lot of non-believers. And one particular person, if he's watching this broadcast, my uncle, he doesn't know. He doesn't feel like what we've seen in Bitcoin, the heavy inflated prices, the breakout, liquidity that we see up and down. It's a bit questionable and it's concerning. Yes, I understand that all of trades, all stocks, all bonds, all commodities, all asset comes with risk. But you know what my answer to that would be? Go big or go home. And that's the attitude I bring towards Bitcoin and just investing in general. Because you sitting here today looking at the price of this coin or this asset today, is not going to be the price of the coin maybe tomorrow, a month, a year, a decade later. So you got to get in where you can fit in. Listen to me, people. I'll say it again. You got to get in where you fit in. And that's what I've been doing. I've done pretty well year over year in returns for Bitcoin. I'm glad I didn't drink the Kool-Aid that all these people said. That it is a hoax, it's a scam. No, we are talking about real world uses for Bitcoin and real world companies that are backing this asset. Not in the millions, but in the billions of dollars that these companies are investing into it. Okay? We all clear on that? By the way, like and subscribe too, by the way. As we know what we do, we jump right into it. Let's get to the charts and let's see what Bitcoin is looking like on Christmas Day. This is a coin to coin market cap. Currency right now as we stand, I'm looking at $87,809. Okay. If you want to count in the cents too, we'll count in the cents, 89 cents. Well, it just went up and down. See, Bitcoin trades 24 hours, people. That's the accessibility you can have with this coin. And if you're afraid of just investing into the coin itself, you can invest into multiple Bitcoin ETFs that got approved. The first of its kind in history on the Wall Street Stock Exchange. Never has that been done until recently. So Bitcoin has, for many years, been speculation, skeptical, but now it's traded on Wall Street. That's a big deal. That's a major deal. And the SEC approved it. Obviously, Gary Gensler, who was a former SEC chairman, felt pressured. And he knew companies wanted Bitcoin. They wanted to give their clients an opportunity to invest in this company without physically owning it. And they had to approve it. And here we are today at 87,813. Now let's look from 1 year till this day. Bitcoin, let's see, last year was at $99,297.69. Okay, down about over 11,000, as we seen an all-time high of about 124. I think it was 126, but right here we got 124 on October 6, 2025. Okay, so year over year, we're still in the positive. We're in the green. Obviously, recently we've gone down a lot, but that's okay because that comes with owning something like this. You know, you're gonna have the ups and downs, but long-term scalability and availability is what we want to have, people. We got to think big picture, and that's why I'm coming to you today with this broadcast to discuss Bitcoin and the importance of it. Each and every time I get on here, you know, I'm very, supportive of the asset. Why that is? Because it's done me pretty good, and it outperforms the stock market. It outperforms the S&P, every major index you can think about. So we got to take control of that, and I have been able to, and I hope you are too as well. I just also want to repeat too, I am not a financial advisor. You can take my opinions and my thoughts and ideas at your own discretion, and you decide what you want to invest into. Just putting that out there as a disclaimer. Okay, so I really want to talk today about Bitcoin and just really a company that I recently found went public on the Wall Street Stock Exchange. It's called 21 Capital. This is according to Yahoo Finance, and here's the headline. 21 Capital to become largest New York Stock Exchange listed Bitcoin treasury company. Second only to Strategy overall, which is MicroStrategy, owned by Michael Saylor. He has over 600,000 Bitcoins in his arsenal. So this company, it currently has some real relevance. It's just debuted not too long ago, December 9th. And just, as I will read this paragraph just to show you what this company is all about. So, New York Stock Exchange is expected to welcome its largest Bitcoin treasury company yet, thanks to merger between 21 Capital and Cantor Equity Partners. 21 Capital goes public with a $4 billion in Bitcoin. Currently, they own 42,000 Bitcoin, according to this article. And, it's real interesting to say because, when we talk about companies that stockpile Bitcoin, this company specifically invests into Bitcoin. No other crypto, no other asset. And I got an interview that I'm going to play for you that shows you the CEO of the company, how he got started with this company, and the idea of the Bitcoin treasury company, which I really thought was very key. His name is Jack Mallers. I'm about to get to that in a minute. Let's see what else. That's pretty much it. So let's get to the interview on YouTube just to introduce to you this 21 Capital company and why I think I might be paying close attention to them to see how they perform, because they had a lot of great ideas in this video that he's going to implement to customers and consumers that buy his stock, or if you want to invest into the company. Let's hear the exclusive CNBC interview at the stock exchange on the floor.
CNBC exclusive is the founder and CEO of 21 Capital, Jack Mallers. Jack, welcome. Good to have you.
Thanks for having me, guys. How are you?
I'm good. Largest here, but third largest total in terms of corporate Bitcoin treasuries?
That's right.
And how did this all start?
The company's co-founded by Tether and I. So I was telling you before we aired, there's not too many people that were around in Bitcoin 13 years ago. Tether and I were some of those folks, and we co-founded the business. We're not a treasury company. We've been classified that. We're not like Strategy in the sense that we do have a lot of Bitcoin, but we're also building a business. We're building an operating company. We're bringing a lot of Bitcoin products to market with the intent to have cash flow. And so we find ourselves, we think we can build.
Just in case you guys didn't know, these are some very high name level companies in the finance space. Tether is a stable coin, which they have a lot of cash flow, and they were backing this company. Let's continue.
A perfect world between what is a Coinbase or a Robinhood and a Strategy in a Bitcoin company. We look at a Coinbase, we don't think they're a Bitcoin business, they're a crypto business. We look at a Strategy that's focused on Bitcoin but doesn't have any products and doesn't have cash flow in the industry. We want to live in the intersection of that, and we think, Tether and I were very confident in our ability to deliver that.
What would that mix look like, the part of the business that does give you cash?
So listen, Tether is obviously the largest stablecoin issuer in the world, tons of cash flow. I'm the founder of Strike, one of the biggest Bitcoin financial services firms in the world. Bitfinex, a sister exchange of Tether. So we see many opportunities in brokerage, exchange, credit, and lending. I mean, to us, the opportunities are endless. Again, this is something we've been doing for over a decade, is producing high-value products, high margin, high growth, cash flow, and the ability to pair it with a large treasury in the capital markets. We want to give the capital markets both blue chip credibility and startup upside, and an ability to contribute and participate in Bitcoin's story. We think that the markets are going to really, really love that.
So you want to do brokerage like Coinbase, but strictly Bitcoin?
Yeah, listen, these things, we'll come out with them sooner rather than later. I'm not committing to any timelines today, but we're really interested in building credit markets on top of Bitcoin, lending products on top of Bitcoin. It's a $2 trillion asset that needs credit and lending and capital behind it. There's nobody better than partners like Tether and SoftBank.
Wait a second. That was key, I think, right now so far in the interview. Having Bitcoin, using it as credit lending, do you know how massive that would be? Instead of going to the traditional financial banks, Bank of America, Chase, you can use Bitcoin now to finance certain things. I think that's going to be key for the near future, guys. What do you think? You can leave a comment and let me know about that idea of using Bitcoin as leverage to buying a home, buying a car, because obviously we know the prices fluctuate up and down, just as the car markets, just as the housing markets, credit, all that stuff fluctuates on rates. So we can use Bitcoin now to offset that? I think that might be key. Don't get me wrong, I don't know too much about that, but based on what this CEO is saying, that could become huge. Let's continue.
And then our experience in the brokerage and trading space, we think that there's evergreen opportunity. And really the thing is, our tagline is a Bitcoin company. We're not a stablecoin company. We're not a crypto company. We're not a prediction market company. We see Bitcoin as the forest through the trees. It is the opportunity, and no one's seemingly focused on it. And that's the story of this equity, is to focus solely on Bitcoin, deliver value to shareholders through primarily Bitcoin.
Who should buy your stock? Why wouldn't they just buy Bitcoin then?
Well, because they don't have Tether, SoftBank, and the cash flows that we'll produce. So, I agree with that. We do not want the market to think of us and price us as just a treasury asset. That is not us at all. We're going to acquire as much Bitcoin as we possibly can. I mean, I think it's crazy that we own over 4 times the amount of Bitcoin Coinbase does, and this is my first day in the public markets. But, we also want to build massive businesses, and I think the markets will appreciate, Tether's no slouch to that.
Has the recent volatility been jarring to you, or is this like just par for the course?
No,
much worse.
Par for the course.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Yeah, of course. I mean, listen, to own the best performer in the face of currency debasement in this new, fiat era regime of infinite amounts of deficits in printing, Bitcoin is priced on the future expectation of fiat currency, and it's a wild world that we're living through and having to go through. And so you eat some of the volatility to be the best performer. If you can't take the heat, stay out of the kitchen. and so, Bitcoin's a win.
I'm gonna end it right there. If you can't take the heat, stay out the kitchen. That is a fact. I think that might be the quote of this whole broadcast. If you can't take the heat, stay out the kitchen. This guy just specifically told you, based on expectations of prices, that's all Bitcoin is. But He's going to continue to accumulate Bitcoin because he sees the potential in the asset. And that's what I want you to see too. Because that is key. You rather go spend a whole bunch of money on clothes and jewelry to look fly out here in these streets, but you won't want to invest into Bitcoin because the price goes up and down. Let me tell y'all something. I've cut trees. I've cut grass. I've stepped in shit. I've picked up shit. And thank God I haven't ate shit yet. But let me tell you something. With all that, me just saying that to you, I can do all those type of different things in this life, right? With my job. Yes, I get paid. Yes, I get overtime. But you know what the one thing that it doesn't give you? And I'm going to tell you right now, it doesn't give you the ownership. It doesn't give you the long-term growth. Yes, I might get a raise here and there, but with Bitcoin, it's endless. We can take this shit from 90-something thousand to 1 million. If we stay focused, if we invest our money, who wants to retire? I do. With Bitcoin in the bank. Come on, man. Currency gets printed, like he just mentioned. We only keep printing and printing, making the deficit in this country even more and more worse. Not with Bitcoin, not with cryptocurrency. And I'm standing by that wholeheartedly. Because look, man, we got to get out of the old ways of thinking, man. We got to lean in on the future as Bitcoin was created for us. Somehow, in some way, not to the normal society, but for people that want to get exposed to growth, get exposed to price exposure, and ultimately have a fat bank account. That's what I want, a fat bank account. Now, this is just one company, right? He doesn't have all the answers, nor we're going to trust him for every answer he said in this interview. But it's just an example, guys, why we need to pay attention, focus up on these companies and what's going on Wall Street, man. Each and every day, Monday through Friday, they decide our lives, whether you like it or not. And it's a fact. So pay attention. So I just explained to you a new company that's on the market in 21 Capital, Bitcoin Treasury, but they're not specifically a Bitcoin Treasury as he mentioned to you. And we're seeing now more and more companies file on the stock market to get public based on Bitcoin, man. These mining companies now, they are doing tremendously well based off of Bitcoin. All they do is mine Bitcoin. And they return it back to the shareholders based on the success of Bitcoin. And I can tell you it's proof because I have a portfolio right now in Bitwise that every time quarter comes around, ends, I get paid a dividend from them. So you see what I'm saying? Bitcoin is able to make us money. Why not invest into that? Just saying, it's me talking, but you can take my word for it and do your research yourself. Now, here we go. What the last point I want to make to you is I found out on Yahoo Finance, once again, there's one article. They asked Chat GPT where Bitcoin will be in 30 Christmases. And look, and the answer may shock you. Why Chat GPT? OpenAI owns it. OpenAI is funded by billionaires. It's a multi-billionaire company. And it's AI, right? We turn to AI for a lot of things. We ask AI questions to answers we don't have, but they'll simplify it and break it down to you by step. And I've seen that, and I'm just shocked. So why would they ask ChatGPT? Because we all know ChatGPT is not biased. It's very mechanical. point A to point B. Like my uncle said, if he can't quantify it, then there's no point believing on someone based on their truth. No, let's go by the books. Let's go by how a machine is built from point A to point B to point C, point D. There's no flaws in it. You have to start with this and end with this. The same thing with the AI. They have to start with this and they have to end with a point. So let's get to Chat GPT and let's see what this article says about what Bitcoin will be in 30 years. 30 years? That's a long time. I'm hoping it's a million. But let's see. I didn't even get to read this article, but I'm showing to you this right now. Okay, key takeaways. In 30 Christmases time, guys, Bitcoin could be something unrecognizable. Historical analysis points to multi-cycle bullish momentum. Grok and Chat GPT have offered a skeptical, humorous counterpoint. Okay. Will Bitcoin hit 80K, 100K first? Those are Poly Market. Poly Market is a prediction market too. That's crazy. Okay, so they're saying by 2054, that's what we'll be in the next 30 years. And they said, let's go. Chat GPT chooses a tone as warm as a cracking fire. Whether that's realism or festive optimism is up for debate. Bitcoin price has repeatedly shown a pattern of surviving regulatory blizzards, market blizzards, and actual blizzards, it said. It even added holiday spending in 2054 may very well include topping up Bitcoin savings wallets as commonly as buying gift cards today. Isn't that crazy how you could buy a gift card for someone $50, $100? Now you could probably have a Bitcoin gift card you could send someone. Would you like that? I would like that. Okay. If Chat GPT played the optimism Christmas narrative, Grok arrived like a sadistic cousin at dinner. 30 years, that's basically geological time in crypto, They said either Bitcoin becomes the digital equivalent of gold and hovers over somewhere around 250,000, or humanity, watch this, humanity gets distracted by some quantum holographic hamster powered currency that renders all this moot. Okay, 250,000 in 30 years? I'm going to double that. Matter of fact, I'll triple that. You can hear it from me first. I believe Bitcoin will triple that 250,000 within the next 30 years. So that's real funny. That's real funny how they can say it could be 250,000 or humanity gets distracted by some quantum holographic hamster powdered currency that renders all this moot. And what they're saying by that is a meme coin. Remember like Doggy Coin? Like that could possibly be a thing too. Because I'm seeing Trump coins. I think Tory Lanez had a coin. I mean, come on with all these bullshit ass coins, bro. That is fucking up the game right there. Bitcoin is a real coin. Let's stick to the real coins. Stop all these freaking meme coins, man. It's ridiculous. But any way that people can make money, they'll do it. So 250,000, huh? Here we go. Bitcoin previously climbed 400% from bottom to bottom in 1,400 days, highlighting the asset's multi-year momentum cycles. Okay, this is technical analysis. Faldrin Tahiri says Bitcoin's long range pattern still seems bullish. So we're getting something from a technical analysis. All right. So he's saying applying those same ratios forward, a proportional top projected into 2055 will place Bitcoin nearly 3.5 million. Do you see that? Oh, man. 3.5 million. Even a 10% stake in 3.5 million would get you at roughly $350,000. $350,000. That's insane. Now, me personally, I don't own the whole Bitcoin. But if I could, I would like to have 3.5 million that I can spend. And look at this. This is not a Roth IRA. This is not a traditional IRA where they're going to tax you more than what they would tax you if you try to withdraw that 3.5 million. Because in the IRA, you got to wait till 50 or sometimes 55 to withdraw that money. Now, if Bitcoin can hit that price even sooner, oh man, it's a ball game. It's gonna be Christmas early, and I can tell you what, I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin hits that price in half of that, 30. Let's say maybe 15 years, 15 to 20 years. Why not? Shoot for the stars, man. Shoot for the stars. That's all I can do, man. So I asked you at the beginning, is Bitcoin fake or is it the real deal? A scam or the real deal? I'm going to say this on record. I believe it's a real deal. I will continue to believe it's a real deal as long as there's fair game. And what I say by fair game, I'm saying that these companies don't it's like I'm losing my words, but I just don't want these companies to oversaturate the market and, you know, continue to have Bitcoin to have a crazy influx of price momentum change that is unbearable to the point where people are scared to invest. Like literally scared to put their money into Bitcoin. That's what needs to change. There needs to be some more regulation on these price action movements, because sometimes you could be up 20, 30% and then you could be down 40, 50%. If Bitcoin can change that narrative, I think there could be a long-term success to this asset. And I'll leave it with that. And that's why I believe it could be a real deal, because with more and more companies investing in Fortune 500 companies, we're not talking about company up the road from where you live. Fortune 500 companies with the capital to do so and the backing to make Bitcoin the hefty price that it is, 80 something thousand now, it could be 1 million in the next 10, 15 years or more. So if we can get that under control and more people decide to use their 401ks, decides to use their IRAs, decides to use whatever savings they can do in the long term, we put more money into that, there's no telling that Bitcoin can't go higher. And I can't see it going down. My uncle asked me, how can this thing go down? I couldn't give him a real answer. But all I can tell him is that these big companies on Wall Street are going to keep pumping money into it. And as far as Bitcoin is concerned, once there's no more Bitcoin left in the market, how could it go down? It's only 21 million coins. Currently sitting right now, let's go to Bitcoin. It's currently, what did I see that price? 19.96 million Bitcoin in circulating supply. Total supply, 19.96. Max supply, 21 million Bitcoin. Once we hit that mark, people, how can it go down? Seriously, I think that's a real legitimate question. How can it go down? I really want to see someone prove me wrong, or see Bitcoin prove me wrong. But now that it's at 87,000 today, and whatever you're willing to pay for it today or tomorrow or the day after that, that's up to you. But look, man, number one digital currency. It's right up there with gold, right? Gold is still the highest performing asset and worth the most, obviously, over $1 trillion. But once it surpasses that is going to be history right there. So look, that's the end of the broadcast. Thank you for tuning in. Like I said, Bitcoin is something that I'm investing into. I love talking about it. I love dissecting it, learning more about it, the technology itself, but also these other cryptos too that I've been paying attention to. Moving into 2026, how we could diversify our portfolio. I think that's what I got to talk about too, coming real soon. So thank you for tuning in, man. And like I said, be on the lookout for another Steph Bitcoin report. Probably wrapping up 2025. And also you can check out Steph's M Life. Also, not only that, Steph's game picks. And also things I talk about the hip hop media. If you watch my last video, then you seen I was talking about Ebro and how he got fired from the radio station that I used to work at. So a lot of things going on in the world, man. But you gotta stay with it. You gotta be in it to win it. Go hard or go home. And sometimes, man, look, some people are going to deter you away from doing certain things. You got to believe in yourself and ultimately believe in what you're investing into, whether it is you or something that you feel like can make you more money. And I hope that this broadcast gave you clarity, gave you something to enjoy and learn about at the same time. And we'll talk again next time. Until then, it's been real. Peace.